a small southern county. Everyone knew Emily Carter, not because she was famous, but because she was unforgettable. She had bright copper hair, a loud laugh, and a heart too big for quiet places. People said she lit up rooms. Even on bad days, she grew up here, went to school here, dreamed of leaving, but never stopped loving home. Her sister remembers the hugs most. Too long, too tight, like Emily was afraid to let go. On the surface, life looked normal, but small towns hide things well. Behind closed doors, Emily's life was complicated. Old love, new mistakes, and choices that pulled her in opposite directions. Still, no one imagined her story would end like this, because on that warm holiday evening, Emily did what she always did. She visited a friend, talked about plans, laughed about nothing important. As the sun dipped low, she stood up suddenly. She said she had somewhere to go. She didn't say where, she didn't say with whom. She just left, and that was the last time anyone saw Emily Carter alive. By morning, her absence felt wrong. By nightfall, it felt terrifying. And soon, an entire town would realize someone they loved was never coming back. The night Emily disappeared, nothing felt unusual at first. It was a holiday, the kind of night where roads stay quiet. Emily was visiting a close friend. They talked, they laughed, they shared small worries. As the clock moved closer to evening, Emily grew restless. She checked her phone. Once, then again. She stood up suddenly. She said she had to leave. Her voice sounded rushed, but not afraid. Her friend asked where she was going. Emily smiled. She said, "I'll explain later." She never did. Outside, the air was warm. The sky was clear. Emily walked to her vehicle, started the engine, and drove off into the dark. Hours passed. No calls, no messages. By midnight, concern began to creep in. By morning, panic had taken over. Her phone went straight to voicemail. That wasn't like her. Emily always checked in. Always. Her family began calling friends, then neighbors, then anyone who might have seen her. A strange discovery changed everything. Her vehicle was found, parked on the side of a quiet rural road. The doors were locked. The keys were gone. There were no skid marks, no signs of a struggle. It looked abandoned. People gathered near the scene. Whispers spread fast. Why would she leave her car? Why here? Why now? Police were called. Search teams followed. They walked the roads. They scanned the fields. Nothing. As night fell again, fear settled in, because by then, everyone understood one thing. Emily Carter didn't just disappear. Someone had interrupted her life and erased her trail, and whatever happened next was far worse than anyone imagined. By the third day, hope was thinning. Search crews expanded their radius. Roads, fields, riverbanks. Volunteers showed up in silence. Some brought flashlights. Others brought prayers. Emily's father barely slept. 2 hours, maybe 3. The rest of the time, he drove. Slowly, scanning ditches, watching the sky, looking for birds. Because in places like this, birds know first. Pause, then came the call. A fisherman had spotted something down near the water. At first, he thought it was debris. Tinutmobit police sealed off the area. Sirens cut through the quiet afternoon. Emily's family rushed to the bridge. Her father stood frozen. He kept repeating one sentence. "Let me see her." Over and over. As the body was pulled from the water. No clothes, no identification. Just skin and silence. Time had taken its toll. Nature had erased answers. Her father didn't want to believe it. He begged for certainty. Is it her? Are you sure? No parent should ask that question. The medical examiner could not give clear answers. No weapon was found. No obvious injuries remained. The official words were cold. Homicidal violence. Nothing more. No how. No why. Just confirmation that someone had ended her life. The town changed that day. Porches stayed lit all night. Doors locked earlier. People spoke in hushed tones. Emily had been known here, loved here. She was the kind of person everyone remembered. And now, Saya was gone. The investigation officially shifted. This was no longer a missing person case. It was a murder, and the clock had already stolen its most important hours. Evidence was scarce. Clues were fragile. But one thing was clear. Someone knew what happened, and someone had been very careful. Because Emily Carter didn't just die. She was deliberately silenced. And the truth was buried deeper than anyone realized. Once the shock settled, questions took over. Too many questions, not enough answers. Investigators began where they always do, the people closest to Emily. Two men stood at the center of everything, her former partner and her ex-husband. Both were contacted within hours. Both agreed to talk. Both claimed innocence. Pause. The first man had an alibi. He said he was miles away that night. Eating fast food, with a friend. Investigators checked. Receipts, timelines, even a lie detector test. Nothing concrete tied him to the river. At least, not yet. The second man's story was different. Messy, uncertain. He said he had been driving. Alone. No destination. No witnesses. Just hours of empty roads, Wenpri said. His voice changed. He admitted seeing a vehicle that looked familiar. A Jeep, parked near a rural intersection. Emily's Jeep. He claimed he didn't stop, didn't check, didn't look closely. But the words lingered. Why notice it at all? By now. The town was watching. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone had a theory. In small towns, silence speaks louder than facts, and gossip moves faster than truth. Paul's search efforts continued for days. Her father joined everyone. He drove back roads, walked fields, watched the river. He slept in his clothes, because stopping meant accepting reality. And he wasn't ready. When the autopsy results came back. They raised more questions than answers. Time and water had destroyed critical evidence. The cause of death couldn't be clearly identified. No weapon. No clear trauma. Just confirmation that it wasn't an accident. Someone had done this. On purpose. Investigators felt the pressure. The case was getting colder by the hour. And with every sunrise, memories faded. Witnesses forgot details. Evidence degraded. And mistakes, small ones, began to pile up. Some items were logged improperly. Others went missing entirely. A laptop. Clothing. Gone. No explanation. Years later. Those early errors would haunt everyone involved. Because those missing pieces could have told the whole story. Instead, they left investigators chasing shadows. And while the town waited for justice, the person responsible had already vanished into the crowd, hidden in plain sight. To understand Emily's death, you have to understand her life, and the choices she was trying to outrun. Emily grew up in a town where everyone knew your name, and your mistakes. She was bright, outgoing, restless. She wanted more than quiet streets and small dreams. After high school, she left. College. A new city. A new version of herself. For a while, it worked. She married young. The relationship looked solid from the outside, but behind closed doors, cracks formed different goals, different speeds. Emily was growing. He wasn't. Arguments became routine. Silence became normal. Eventually, the marriage collapsed. After the divorce, Emily tried to start fresh. New career path. New people. New beliefs. She enrolled in a wellness program. Massage therapy. Holistic living. That's where she met someone new. A business partner. A romantic interest. Someone who promised freedom. But freedom came with complications. The relationship was intense, passionate, unstable. Money problems surfaced. The business failed. Bills stacked up. Stress took over. Emily was trapped again. Different cage, same feeling. Friends noticed the change. She was exhausted, emotionally drained. Still grieving her mother's death. Still searching for peace. She confided in a few people. Said she felt lost. Said she needed a reset. That's when the past came back. Her ex-husband, they started talking again. Quietly, late-night calls. Unfinished emotions. Emily admitted something shocking to a close friend. She believed she might be pregnant, and she believed the child was his. That secret changed everything. It raised stakes, created fear, created motive. Emily was standing at a crossroads. Every path led to conflict. And someone didn't want her choosing. Weeks later, she packed up her apartment, told family she was moving back to her hometown. Some saw it as comfort. Others saw it as surrender. No one realized it was the last decision she'd ever make. 6 weeks after the move, Emily disappeared, and the secrets she carried may have cost her life. The day Emily vanished started like any other. That's what makes it terrifying. It was a quiet Sunday, Mother's Day. The kind of day meant for family calls and soft moments. Emily spent the early evening with a close friend. They talked. They laughed. Nothing felt wrong, at least, not yet. As the sun began to set, Emily checked the time. She stood up, said she had to go. Didn't explain where. Didn't sound worried, just normal. That was the last time anyone saw her alive. She never made it home. That night passed. Then morning came, and Emily still hadn't returned. Her phone went unanswered. Messages stayed unread. By afternoon, panic set in. The next day, something strange was discovered. Emily's car, parked on the side of a rural road. Not abandoned in a rush. Not crashed. Just sitting there. Doors locked. Keys gone, like she stepped out willingly. People asked the same question. Why would she leave her car? Why here? Why disappear on Mother's Day? Search efforts exploded. Family. Friends. Volunteers. They drove back roads, scanned fields, looked for anything. Shoes, clothing, a sign. Nothing. Police began questioning the men in Emily's life. Her former husband, her recent partner. Both denied seeing her that night. Both claimed they were elsewhere. One had an alibi. The other didn't. Investigators pressed harder. They asked about arguments, about phone calls, about unfinished business. One man admitted something unsettling. He said he saw Emily's car that night. Said he didn't stop. Said he just drove past. That detail stuck. Because no one else mentioned it, and it placed him dangerously close. 3 days passed. Then 4. Then 5. Hope faded with every hour. Until the 6th day, a fisherman stood along the riverbank. Early morning. Quiet water. Then, something caught his eye. Something floating. Something that didn't belong. He called the police. And within minutes, everything changed. Emily had been found, but not the way anyone prayed for. And the nightmare was only beginning. The call came early. Too early. The kind of call families fear. Police cars lined the bridge, lights flashing. Red. Blue. reflected on dark water. Emily's father arrived before anyone could stop him. He pushed past the tape, his voice shaking. "Let me see her. Please." Officers tried to prepare him, but nothing prepares you for this. Nothing. The body was pulled from the river. Bare no clothes. No shoes. No jewelry. Just silence. Her family barely recognized her. Days in the water had taken their toll. Nature had erased time and stolen answers. The medical examiner spoke carefully, chose words that offered no comfort. Cause of death. Homicidal violence. Not how. Not when. Not by whom. Just murdered. No gunshot wound. No clear strangulation marks. No obvious trauma. The river had taken too much. Evidence was gone. The town went quiet, then loud. Whispers filled grocery stores, gas stations, church pews. Everyone had a theory. Everyone had a suspect. Emily was only 28. Her life had just begun. Dreams unfinished. Plans unwritten. Her family wanted answers, but what they got was frustration. Boxes of evidence were opened, then closed again. Reports were thin. Photos missing. Key items unaccounted for. A laptop, clothing, personal belongings. Logged, then lost. No one could explain how or why. Investigators said they did their best, but Ty exposed the truth. The case was mishandled, evidence contaminated, leads ignored, opportunities wasted. Emily's sister couldn't accept that. She refused to believe this was the end. She remembered who Emily was. Bright, funny, full of life, not someone who just vanished. She made a decision. If the system wouldn't fight, she would. She teamed up with people who wouldn't quit. Former investigators, private eye storytellers, with one mission: to reopen the past and force the truth into the light. Because someone knew what happened that night. Someone had been there. Someone was still free. And in the next chapter, the focus would shift from to the people Emily trusted most. On a crisp autumn morning, the small town of Harmony Creek was rocked by a discovery that would shatter its peaceful image forever. Emily Carter, a beloved librarian known for her bright smile and kind heart, was found in her quaint cottage, her life cut tragically short. The scene was unsettlingly pristine, almost staged. There were no signs of forced entry, no struggle, just a single, wilting rose left on her bedside table. The authorities were baffled. Was this a terrible accident, or something far more sinister? Welcome back to Twisted Timelines, where today we unravel the perplexing case of Emily Carter. Emily was the heart of Harmony Creek. She knew everyone's favorite books, and always had a cheerful word for passers. Her sudden death sent a wave of shock and grief through the community. Who would want to harm such a gentle soul? The official cause of death was ruled as inconclusive, deepening the mystery. As investigators dug into her life, they found it was as quiet and unassuming as she appeared. She had no known enemies, no hidden debts, no secret relationships. She was simply Emily, the town librarian. Or was she? The first clue that things weren't as they seemed came from a small, leather-bound journal found tucked away beneath a loose floorboard in her bedroom. The entries, written in elegant cursive, painted a picture of a woman living in fear. Emily wrote about being watched, about feeling a constant, unseen presence. She mentioned anonymous letters, filled with cryptic messages and poems that started arriving a few months before her death. One entry read, "He sees me when I'm sleeping. He knows my every move. The rose is his signature." This changed everything. Emily had a stalker. The police launched a full-scale investigation, questioning everyone who knew Emily. Her colleagues at the library described her as becoming more reserved and anxious in her final weeks. Friends recalled her canceling plans at the last minute, saying she wasn't feeling well. The pieces were starting to form a chilling mosaic. The anonymous letters were analyzed, but the handwriting offered no matches in the police database, and there were no fingerprints. The stalker was a ghost, a phantom who had haunted Emily's final days and then vanished without a trace. The case eventually went cold. The trail of the mysterious stalker disappeared, and with no new leads, Emily's file was moved to the cold case archives. The town of Harmony Creek tried to move on, but the shadow of her unsolved death lingered. The single wilting rose became a symbol of the unanswered questions. Who was the man who sent the poems? Why did he target Emily? And what truly happened on that fateful night in her cottage? The journal provided a glimpse into her terror, but her secrets, it seemed, died with her. To this day, the death of Emily Carter remains one of the most haunting mysteries in the state's history. A story of a quiet life violently interrupted, and a community left with scars that may never fully heal. Was it a crime of passion by a spurned lover no one knew about, or the work of a methodical predator who chose his victim at random? The truth is still out there, waiting to be discovered. What do you think happened to Emily? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories that will keep you up at night. After 15 years, the case was considered frozen. Not cold, frozen. Boxers, untouched. Leads, abandoned. Hope running thin. Then someone new stepped in. Not from the town, not from the county, not even from the state. A private investigator from far away. Someone with no history, no bias, no emotional ties. Fresh eyes. He read every report, every interview, every forgotten note. And almost immediately, he noticed something disturbing. This case wasn't over-investigated. It was under-investigated. Too many assumptions, too many shortcuts. People were treated like suspects before evidence existed. Others were cleared too quickly. He questioned the early interviews. Why were Miranda warnings read so fast? Why were people pressured before facts were gathered? Fear changes memory. Fear shuts people down. He believed that mistake mattered. Then he looked at alibis. One was accepted without verification. Another was dismissed without proof. No timelines were reconstructed properly. No movements tracked. No digital trail. But the biggest red flag was motive. Everyone focused on emotion. Jealousy, anger, romance. But they ignored something else. Money, debt, pressure, a failing business, shared loans, insurance questions asked too soon. These weren't coincidences. The investigator believed the truth wasn't hidden. It was scattered, and scattered truths are the hardest to assemble. He didn't accuse anyone, not yet. Instead, he asked a better question: who benefited most from Emily never coming home? That question reopened wounds, angered locals, upset families. Because some truths, once questioned, refused to stay buried. One detail refused to stay buried, a single memory, from a woman who stayed silent for more than a year. She said it haunted her. It was Mother's Day, late afternoon. She was driving near the river when she saw them. 3 men and 1 woman. The woman had red hair and looked terrified. 2 men were holding her by the arms, not helping, but restraining her. The woman tried to pull away, but their grip only tightened. The witness made eye contact, just for a second, but that second never left her. Fear froze her. She didn't stop. She didn't call the police. She just drove on. Later, she saw the missing woman on the news. Same red hair, same face. The guilt came flooding back. She finally spoke to investigators, but too much time had passed. They told her the timeline didn't match, that the hour was wrong. They doubted her. But trauma distorts time, and memory doesn't follow a clock. Years later, police showed her a photo lineup. Her hands shook as she pointed to one face. Certain he was one of the men, but the case files were thin. There were no notes on how the lineup was conducted. No procedural safeguards recorded. Doubt crept in again. Then the witness died. Her voice was gone, leaving only words on paper. Was she mistaken? Or was her truth lost forever? That question still echoes. Because sometimes justice arrives late, and sometimes it never arrives at all. The case went cold, files gathered dust, and leads dried up. Investigators changed. Sheriffs retired. But the family remained. They never stopped asking questions, never stopped searching. A fresh investigator reviewed the entire file, focusing only on facts, not theories or rumors. What he found was deeply troubling. Missing evidence, contaminated records, interviews conducted poorly. He didn't call it a cold case. He called it a frozen case, locked in mistakes and silence. With no physical proof and no confession, all that remained were questions. Still, the family refused to give up. They raised funds for a reward, begging for anyone with information to come forward. Someone always knows something, a secret shared, a moment Shin, a voice never used. The victim's father grew older, but his hope never faded. "I don't need revenge," he said. "I just need answers." Her sister still dreams of the phone ringing, of hearing a name, of finally getting closure. The town moved on, but the river remembers. It carries the echoes of that day of fear, of silence, and somewhere, the truth is waiting, not buried, just hidden. Waiting for someone to speak. Waiting for justice to awaken. Because cases don't die. People do. And the truth always wants to be found. Thanks for watching.